yes, I think this video might be late because it's 7 and it goes up at 8, but I'm sorry about that. And yeah, I'm off to the gym, so that's why it's going to be late. Hello guys, so we're back with another video. This one is gym related and workout related. So I thought that I would just give you a bit of an update about my current routine, some of my staple exercises, some protein ideas for foods that I use to get my protein, being vegan. If any of you are watching this and you're vegetarian or vegan, then you might find that helpful. And I was going to talk a bit about my PT program, a bit of gym confidence, how to get over it, like tips, stuff like that. And yeah, and things like tracking progress. I just thought it would be interesting to just have a chat and tell you a bit about my gym progress, because it has seriously developed over the past couple of months. I did not used to be a gym bunny and now I'm obsessed. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it. I've written myself like a Q&A, which sounds kind of funny, but I literally just wrote questions that I would want to get answered and things that I want to tell you. And hopefully it will make sense and you'll find it interesting. So yeah, we're going to get right into it. I've got my coffee, so I'm ready. And yeah, I'm actually going to the gym in about 45 minutes, so we've got to get this filmed in that time. So let's get started. So the first thing is how often I go to the gym and how I split my workouts. So I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. That is not necessarily exhaustive workouts. Sometimes I just do like 20 minutes stretching and then abs and then maybe go on the running machine. Some of it is not like really hard, like leg days and stuff like that. So yeah, my current day split that I've got going is Mondays, shoulders and back, which my mum comes to. Then Tuesday I did legs. Then that was just kind of a light leg workout that I did. I don't usually go too heavy on a Tuesday because I like to go heavy on my later in the week workout. So I just do like an all over legs workout for that one. I am hoping to split it into glutes, hamstrings, and then quads and calves, but I need to sort of write down my exercises for that because I like to have a whole plan of my exercises. We'll get into that. I don't like to wing it. Depends what I'm doing. But yes, so Tuesday I do legs, light legs. Then Wednesday at the moment I'm doing a run or walk on the treadmill, which I have out the back of my house, and yoga with my mum, which is like 30 minutes of quite intense stretching. I like to really stretch out the muscles and feel a burn, because then I feel like the next time I train, my muscles just feel like released. So yeah, I'm really getting into yoga and I'm doing it quite a lot. I've probably done it maybe 4 times this week, and we're on Friday. So I do it a lot now. I really enjoy it. So yeah, then Thursdays is usually, but not this week, it is usually buys and tries. My mum would normally come to that one as well. She comes to like 3 a week, but this week she's been quite ill, so I had to switch it up a bit. And then Friday is usually legs, because on a Friday I can literally be in there for about 2 hours and I don't necessarily work out for that whole time, but it means that I can have like a relaxed stretch, I can chill out, I can sort of go around to the machines, go around to the weights, do my deadlifts and everything and take my time and not feel like I'm being rushed. So half of that time it's probably spent resting, but that's because I go really heavy on a Friday, so I need more time to rest, hence the longer session. But yes, this week, because my mum was ill, I did legs yesterday, so my inner thighs are killing me from sumos. But yeah, and hip thrust as well. I got a PB on hip thrust, but we'll chat about that. So yeah, today I'm doing buys and tries, and that's Friday, but it would usually be on a Thursday. You can do like an all over upper body. I used to do it if you don't have time to go as many times as I do. I find that if I know that I'm only going to be going 3 times, then I'll do upper body, legs, and a full body workout. And in the full body, I do abs as well as upper body and lower body. So I do a full body. But yeah, it just depends on time and things like that. So just sort of make it suit you. Depends on the person, I think. And then I do quite like to go at the weekends because I'm at home all day because I work during the week, and I don't like to be away from my dog too much. So at the moment I'm doing 4 during the week and maybe 1 on the weekend or not any, but I would quite like to do 3 in the week and then maybe 2 on the weekend, because then it doesn't matter if I leave her at home because I've been home for the whole day. But yeah, so at the moment we've got yoga on a Saturday morning with my mum, and then on Saturday and Sunday I'm trying to go on the treadmill. One day I'm going to do a walk, one day I'm going to do a run, because I've signed up for a half marathon. So we've got to get training for that because it is the 17th of May. I actually looked it up. I put the date in my countdown app just to scare myself into training, and it is 99 days, 15 hours and 8 minutes until my 9:30 a.m. on a Sunday half marathon. I'm so scared. But yeah, I just signed up unaffiliated, and it basically means that I'm not running for a charity, only because most of the charities and like the way it works, there's quite a few where you have to hit a certain target, and I was just worried, like, if I don't hit that target, what's going to happen, basically. So I just wanted to run for myself. I've done plenty of charity raising from like when I did my volunteering and stuff. So I thought, raising money for charity, I'm happy to not do it on this occasion. So yeah, I thought I'd give that a miss. But that is just because I don't know how it works, and it was a bit complicated to set it up. So I decided to give that a pass. But yeah, so my weekends are kind of home workout related. I usually do band stuff in my room, or I do like HIIT stuff outside where you can do like press ups, what do you call them? Completely gone blank. Burpees, squat jumps, step ups, things like that, sprints. Because that's quite nice to do outside, but it depends what the weather's like. It's been terrible recently, like raining and icy and frosty, so don't want to work outside. But yeah, so that's kind of how I split them. That's kind of the amount of days I do a week. I try not to do more than 4 weight training days, like heavy going ones. That's why I do the one that's maybe abs and stretching and a bit of cardio, just because I'm quite competitive with myself. So I find that I am constantly, I go and I think, I did 100 on sumos last week, I want to do more, even though I don't need to get a PB every session, but I'm constantly striving for it. And I'm soon realizing that like I need to just accept that that's not going to happen. My body isn't going to be able to take that every single time. But I think it's not the worst quality to have, because then I'm not just going to be stuck in a rut with my training, and just doing the same thing every week, never progressing, for like months and months. So it means that every week I'm thinking, right, even if I'm just going up by 2.5s on the bar, like it's something. So I'm gradually, I think they call it progressive overload. I think that's what they call it, maybe. I have to check that one. But yeah, it's basically meaning that you're adding a little every session and you're trying to increase each time rather than staying at the same weights. So yeah, that's the aim at the minute. I'm also doing a lean bulk. So I don't want to bulk because I don't want to put on the weight that I've lost and then have the struggle of losing it, because I do find that quite hard. So, and it's also kind of mentally hard to put on that weight that you've just lost. It's like, oh. So I'm doing a lean bulk, which I did some research, and you might not gain as much as if you did a full bulk, but you can gain muscle and remain relatively lean, depending on how much cardio and stuff you're doing, because you're eating lots of protein, you're still getting loads of carbs to give you energy, getting the right amount of fat, stuff like that. And you're eating more than you would on a lean diet, but or like on a cut, because I do have carbs once a day. Like for a prepped meal, I have them once a day. I don't have them at lunchtime. I have them in the evening, after my workout or before, depending what time. So yeah, I prefer not to have them at work because it just makes me drowsy. So that's kind of my lean bulk. Watch some YouTube videos on it, see whether it's going to work for you. I find that it seems like quite a good idea to me. And it also means that I stay relatively lean whilst being able to progressively overload on the weights and stuff. Because that's the thing, I find that sometimes if you're eating too lean, then you don't have that energy and sort of drive to want to constantly build the weights, because you're not, like, you might not have the energy to physically do it. You might think, oh, you know, I want to go up to 90 today on deadlifts, but if you can't physically like lift it, then, you know, that's a different story. But yes, so that's kind of what I'm going for at the minute. In terms of protein, because I thought I'd kind of talk about what I'm eating at the minute. For lunch, I have either chickpeas, butter beans, or mince. Sometimes I put them together because mince is about 15 grams of protein, and then all the butter beans and things are 10 per can. So I try and put them together, and then that's 25 grams. Then for breakfast, I have granola. I've got this protein granola, which is like £1.60 from Aldi, which I discovered a couple of weeks ago. And that is 12 grams of protein per serving. So that means you can have 40 grams, which is quite a reasonable amount without being too much calories. So it means that you can save your calories for other things. And it's still got 12 grams of protein. And then I have soy yogurt. So I usually have maybe blueberry, and then I also have blueberries in with the granola and the yogurt. And the yogurt is about 4 to 5 grams of protein, depending on how much you have. And because you're lessening the calories in the granola, then you could have more of the yogurt, depending on your preference, like what bit you want more of. So yeah, that's what I have for breakfast, and that's like a pre-breakfast. So that's already 20 grams of protein. Then I've got these bars, which I'll actually show you because I'm obsessed. So these are PhD bars, not sponsored. I eat them every day. And they're fully vegan. So these are the first like vegan bar that I found that I actually really like the taste of, because that's the problem. It's so hard when you're not allowed to put sort of sweeteners and honey and stuff like that in it to make it taste a lot nicer, because of the amount of I think it might be powder that they put in it in terms of like the protein. But it can sometimes, yeah, so it's got pea protein isolate, which I think is a powder, and sometimes they can be a bit grainy, which it kind of just tastes like you're eating flour, like in a chocolate bar form, whereas this actually tastes really nice. And I got the dark chocolate brownie one. I got them on Amazon for £17, and I got 12, which I thought was really good because they are good. Like 20 grams of protein. It's gluten-free as well, which is quite nice because then you don't get bloated, because I get that. I haven't been sort of diagnosed as gluten intolerant, but I do find that whenever I have it, I feel really bloated. So I just try to avoid it. But yeah, I love those. So then that's another 20 grams. Then my lunch, as I said, is about 20, 25. So that's about 65. And then in the afternoon, or like when I get home, I usually have a protein shake. So that's another 25. So then we're pretty much up to like 80. And then for dinner, I have more carbs, so I can eat more calories, I can eat more stuff. So I've been having these no meat vegan burgers, which you can get from Aldi, and they're really, really cheap. They're like, I think it was £1.50 for 2 burgers, and each burger has 22 grams of protein. So by that point, I've hit my 100 grams of protein goal, which I kind of aim for. I used to, when I was PTing, have 120, which is double my body weight. But I find that in terms of like maintaining every single day, if I aim for 100, and as long as I hit that, I think that's plenty. So yeah, and then if I have more than that, then that's just extra. So yes, and then I have things like chickpeas on the side, salad, vegetables, sweet potato, roasted, stuff like that. And then that just adds extra protein because I've already hit my goal. So yeah, main sources of protein, chickpeas, soya protein is really good. Soya milk is high. So maybe when you have your shakes, if you are vegan or vegetarian, try soy milk, because that's got 9 grams of protein. And then when you put it with your 20 grams of protein powder, that obviously makes 29. So yeah, it makes it quite a lot, which is really good. I used to have it with almond milk, but then I realised that almond milk has no protein in it whatsoever. So then I stopped doing that. So next, do I plan or wing my workouts? So I have a list in my phone. I've actually got one, my most recent one, for shoulders and back. And I've literally got a list of workouts, my current sort of weights that I use, like PBs and things, just so that if I think, oh, I've only got like filmed on my phone that I went up to, say 70 on a deadlift, but did I go up to more? Because the thing is, sometimes I film myself for my fitness page and then I add more weight on afterwards, so then I've got a new PB. So yeah, I struggle to keep track because my memory is terrible, so I write it all down. But yeah, sometimes I plan it, and then sometimes, if mainly legs, I just know what I'm doing, or if I'm doing all over upper body, then I know what I'm doing. But if I'm trying to split it into shoulders and back, bis and tris, then I like to write it down because I want to make sure that I'm doing a solid session of good exercises. I'm not just winging it going, oh, this is kind of triceps, but it's also a bit of chest, or it's also a bit of back. I want to kind of strictly do those areas. Like, I know certain exercises do shoulders without necessarily trying to, but I just like to make it more like directed at that area. Whereas if I'm winging it, like if I'm tired or I can't really be bothered, then I'll just go and do everything I know how to do and everything that I know I can lift well on in terms of how much weight, and then I'll leave the sort of new quirky exercises for when I'm feeling a bit better and I feel like trying them out. But yeah, so I don't really wing it, I like to plan it, but that's just kind of my personality. I'm quite organised. So pre-workout and post-workout. So pre-workout, I have a BCAA, which is bulk powders, and it's fully vegan. It's summer berries, and you just add it to water. I find that it's quite nice as a pre-workout because it's got vitamins and things in it. So personally, as a vegan, I find that it's quite a nice thing to have, just because it reassures you that you're getting everything you need. You might not necessarily need it if you're eating meat and stuff like that, but I quite like it, and it does give me energy before, so I've just sort of stuck with it. It might do nothing, but I like it. So that's kind of the routine that I'm in at the minute. And yeah, from bulk powders, so I have that because it's light, because you mix it with water and it's not a thick powder like protein powder. I find that it doesn't just sit on your stomach and make you feel kind of sicky if you jump around the gym too much. Whereas if I have a shake, it kind of just makes me feel sick during my session, so I try to avoid that. And then post-workout, I either have one of those protein bars because they've got 20 grams, so it's a high amount, and I can literally have it as I'm leaving the gym, which I'm doing tonight. And then it's like directly after my workout. And then by the time I get home, which is maybe like 20 minutes, then I might make a protein shake, or I will have my dinner, which will be very high in protein, so like burgers, chickpeas, lentils, that kind of thing. Depends what I'm having. So then I've got, do I recommend a PT or group sessions, or do I go on my own? So I've done all of those things. So I do really like my singular sessions where I go on my own, only because I find that it's kind of like an escape. I can de-stress, I can just release any like bad negative emotions, because when I go to the gym, I feel really good about myself. Not in like a vain way, but it just makes you feel better because you're thinking, you know, I'm working on myself, I'm making better of like my strength and stuff, I'm becoming stronger by working out more, and you know, you're burning calories, so it just makes you feel better. So I do like my own sessions because you can just listen to music, you can get on with it, and I find that I go for longer when I'm on my own and I don't like chat and stuff. But I also do like a PT. So when I did Miami Peach, I'll insert a couple of photos because I have got like the odd photo from it, and I'll also insert the page of Miami Peach just because he has more content than I obviously took myself. But I really liked the sort of pair work of being in a PT. A one-to-one PT is also fine, but I've never tried that. That is a bit like harder going because you don't have anyone to hide behind. All the focus is on you, so it will work you a lot harder, so you have to kind of be prepared for that. But you might get more out of your sessions because all the focus is on you and a PT isn't checking on other members of the group, stuff like that. But I also think that's fine in a group because depending on the PT, it doesn't take up too much time. But my PT group that I did, it was aimed at like lower body workouts, but it kind of covered upper body and abs as well, just smaller elements of it. And it was really nice to have that kind of support from everyone else in the group. We have like a group chat and everyone would sort of talk about what they're eating, what days they're working out outside of the PT, if they were aching, and it was just quite a nice little community that we had. And I think it builds your confidence a lot more because you're not going into the gym on your own, which can be very daunting, and I will get onto that. But yeah, it's really nice to have a group of people that make you feel more comfortable, and then it means that when you do go on your own, you're kind of familiar with the gym. And I don't know whether this is actually true, but sort of from looking around the gym, when you're with a PT, you sometimes get noticed. Like, even when I see people with a PT, I sort of look at them and I'm going, oh, you know, that's a really good training session. Like, I like that exercise that they're doing. I might nick it. So I was always like stealing odd exercises from my PT group. But yeah, so I find that you get noticed because you're with a PT, and the PTs are familiar people in the gym. You see them every day when you go. So when they're with a client, you sort of notice them and go, oh, they're, you know, teaching a client. And that makes people familiar with you. So it means that when you do go on your own, if I see someone and I've seen them with a PT, and I'm not going to go, oh, they're a newbie, you know, they look like they're struggling, they might need some help, because they might know full well what they're doing, but you don't necessarily know that. So, because I was seeing this thing, I'm going off track now, but I saw this thing and it was like, if you see someone that's struggling, go and help them. But there are some times where you can't tell if someone is struggling and like they're new or they're not, if you don't know who they are. But yeah, that's another thing. So yeah, I do try and like help people if I need to. I actually helped someone. I did a good deed yesterday, and then someone did a good deed to me. So I think it was kind of like the whole I did good, so then someone did good to me. This is off track, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So this girl was struggling with so on the military racks, I'll try and insert a photo, you have these little clips which you can move the height of to put the bar on for like squats and stuff. And they literally unhook, so it is detachable to the rack. And she couldn't unhook it, and they are really difficult. They can sometimes be a bit stiff to get them on and off. And I wanted the 20 kg weight that was on the floor, and I kind of knew that she wasn't using it because she was just going for the bar on its own. So I was like, oh, do you mind if I use this weight? And are you all right? And she said, yeah, you can have the weight. And she goes, I can't get these hooks off. So I helped her. I took the hooks off and moved them to where she wanted. And I felt kind of good about that because I was like, oh, you know, I've helped her out. But I've also seen her in there a lot with a PT. So I didn't mind going up to her because I knew that she wasn't kind of going to be offended. Because sometimes people might be like, no, I know what I'm doing. I kind of don't need your help. It just depends on the person, whether they're kind of going to accept help or they don't want any. So, yeah. And then when I was doing hip thrusts, I got to a PB of 130 and I had never gone more than 105. And I was really tired. This was my last exercise of the day and I couldn't get the weights off. I'd put 130 on there and I couldn't take it off. I couldn't de-rack. And you're not meant to leave weights on there. I get annoyed if people do it because if I can't lift it off, then how is someone else going to? And this guy came over and he was like, do you need some help getting that off the rack? And he like de-racked my weights for me. And there was a lot on there. And I was like, oh, thank you. Because no one else came over. Like, he was literally the only person. But it was just nice that someone else came and helped me because she was struggling with those hooks, and then I was struggling to get the weights off because I was tired, and he came over and helped me take them off, and then I obviously left the bar with no weights on it, which is how it's meant to be. So yeah, it was nice because I did something nice and then someone did nice to me. So that doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that is I've gone completely off track. I've kind of lost where I am. But yeah, building confidence in the gym. I think that if you don't want to go for a PT, or you don't want to train with someone, whether it's a friend or family, I think you do just kind of have to get out there, because once you've been in there a couple of times, you realise that people aren't that scary, and half the time they're not bothered about what you're doing. Like, people don't really take notice of me when I'm in the gym, or I don't notice them. They might, but not enough that you're thinking, oh my god, they're staring at me for a whole hour that I'm in here. So once you realise that people are in there to work out, they don't really mind if you make mistakes or if you look funny, then it becomes a lot easier to go. And that's part of the reason why I do so much planning before I go, because I don't want to be sat on a machine or sat on a bench in front of the mirrors going, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'm sat there trying to think, what do I want to do today? And then I'm Googling it on my phone and wasting time. And then someone might be stood behind me going, I really want that bench, like, she's taking ages. And yeah, that's why I plan it, because I find that it's a more efficient way. Like, if you can remember, then good on you, because my memory's terrible. But yeah, that's why I plan my sessions, because then I find that I'm not wasting time. I'm not sort of getting anxious in the gym, because that's another thing. Getting anxious before going into the gym, and then if you don't know what you're doing, you get anxious, and then you just get scared about the whole thing and don't want to go again. But yeah, so tips is maybe planning, going with someone a few times, or even just PTing a couple of sessions. Literally 1 or 2 sessions makes such a difference. I had been to that gym a bunch of times, but I got so anxious about just meeting the PT. So he said, right, we're going to meet in the gym group at so-and-so time for our session. And I was like, but where are we meeting? Like, I got so anxious about just where we were meeting in the gym. Bearing in mind I've been in there loads of times. I would just go in there and have to look for the group. But I got so anxious about it just because of not using the normal gym. Like, I'd use the classes loads, but not the normal gym. And it's just one of those things where you have to sort of throw yourself into it, and eventually it'll get better. And you will make friends in the gym. Like, I have the odd person that I go in there and chat to, and they say, oh, you should try this exercise, or you're doing really good lifting that, you got a PB, didn't you? I saw that you had put more on than you did last time. And it's just nice to have that, like, recognition from people. So in terms of how I track my progress and, like, setting goals and stuff, I think you have to be realistic when it comes to setting goals. So as I was saying, part of my, like, personal challenge is that I probably put too much pressure on myself to get PBs each week. And, like, personally, I'm finding that I'm slowly getting better at that, and I'm not pushing myself too hard, and then, you know, feeling, not getting injured, but just feeling tired from it because I'm pushing myself so much. So yeah, I think tracking progress, I take a lot of progress pics, probably too many, but I just find that when I look in the mirror, I don't see what I see in the photos. So I can put 3 photos next to each other, and each of them are 3 weeks apart or a month apart, and I can go, wow, look at the difference. But if I looked in the mirror, I'd go, look same. So it just depends on the person. I find it really hard to just look in the mirror and see the difference. So I see it sort of now, but I don't sort of remember what I looked like before because it's not in front of me. So that way, if you're looking at photos and things, you can just go, wow, that was 2 weeks ago. I can see, you know, that part of my abs looks more toned, or my legs look a bit more like lean or muscly, or whatever you're aiming for. So I recommend taking photos. I recommend measuring over weighing, just because if you are building muscle, it's going to weigh more than fat. So I measure like my waist, my hips, my chest, each of my arms and legs. So like my biceps here to see if they've got any bigger, and the middle of my thigh to see if they've got any leaner. Yeah, so that's where I measure, and I do that maybe every couple of weeks. I don't do that too often just because I forget. So yeah, measuring is also a good one. But yes, as I was saying, I basically track my progress through measurements, photos, and I also track my progress in terms of weight. So I have a little logbook, so I either take the book or I write it on my phone, and I write down my PBs. So just out of, like, maybe you're interested, maybe you're not, but so bent over row, I've got a PB of 55, which is, I'll insert a photo because I can't obviously do it now, but that's what a bent over row is. Shoulder press, I've managed to get to 27.5, which is my best. Even when I was with a PT, I didn't do more than 20, and I've been stuck at 22 and a half for ages. And I kind of just wasn't pushing myself, and then I realised, you know what, I'm going to put more on. And then in one session, I went from 25 to 27 and a half, and I was like, I'm happy with that. I want to get to 30, but so that's a stood up shoulder press, which is like this, with a bar. So I had the weight on the bar, and the bar is 20, so I obviously had that on either side. So yes, that's what we did. So that was my PB on that one. What else? Then, so in terms of legs, sumos, my PB is 105 on sumos. I will insert some photos of my fitness profile just so I'll insert some little videos and then you can see me doing the exercises. Then on RDLs, which is deadlifts, but I don't reset, so I don't put the bar down at the end. I just do 6 to 8 reps where you go down to the bottom of your knee, just under your knee with the bar, and then you go back up so you don't touch the floor. And on that, I've got a PB of 90. So in terms of, because I never used to do more than like 50 on deadlifts, and I never used to really do them. And then I hurt my hip when I was doing sumos, so I moved to RDLs, and then I built up that strength. And then now that my hip's feeling better, I've gone back to doing sumos as well. So I sometimes do both in a session, it just depends how I feel. So yes, and then as I said, hip thrusts, I've got a PB of 130, which is crazy. I used to struggle with 70 when I was PTing, just because I wasn't conditioned for it. And I also do less reps now. We used to do sets of 20 when I was PTing, so that was painful. But yeah, now I do maybe 12, do less. So yeah, but I can actually do 4 sets of 12, so it's not far off what I used to do in PT, but heavier. Then I got, what else? I'm trying to think of my other PBs. Can't think of them. Chest press, I have got 35, but that wasn't really pushing myself. I think I could do way more than that, but it was because I didn't have a spot. So it was a chest press with a bar, and I got down to my chest and it just felt heavy. And then I put it back on and I was thinking I could probably do more if I had someone to make sure that I wasn't just going to drop it on my chest. But I didn't want to risk it for the biscuit. So yeah, I just thought I would leave it. So I might be getting spotted tonight, because I know someone that's going tonight. So he might be able to spot me on that. And then that means that I could probably put more on it. And incline press, I've got a PB of 16 in either arm. So that's sat on the bench at an incline and then it's just pressing upwards. And yeah, that was 16 each arm. But again, I need someone to spot me, just because I can't physically like knee up the weight to get it here. And it's usually one arm is weaker than the other. So one arm I could easily like get up there, but then the other arm's just like, oh, so I need someone to sort of help me up and then I'll get back down. That's kind of the way that usually works. So I'll press it. They'll help me by pushing my arms up here, and then on the way down I can kind of do it myself. They're not going to be doing all the work, but yeah, it does help when you're going up a weight, because 2 kg makes a difference. So yeah, I think they're my kind of most important PBs at the minute. And on lunges, I think I got to 40 on lunges, 10 either side on a 20 bar, and that's for lunge pulses. So you don't reset, kind of like the RDLs, you just pulse at the bottom. So it kind of builds more tension in the quads, but it absolutely kills. So I can only do about 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. I feel like that was self-explanatory, but I thought I'd demonstrate anyway. So yeah, I'm going to insert some photos of like the things that I eat, like my shops and stuff, just so you might be curious. But yes, that's kind of everything in terms of my routine and stuff. I'm actually gonna leave for the gym in a minute, so we're gonna wrap this up. I thought I'd quickly show you some of the bits that I got off Amazon recently, just because you might be interested. Some of them, 2 of the things I didn't actually get off Amazon. So these are just kind of staple items to have in your gym bag that I find are really, really useful and kind of under appreciated maybe. Not many people maybe bring these items, and it's like they're actually very useful in terms of training. So resistance band, I see so many people doing, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, I'm not saying that, but they might do no weighted squats as like a prime item in their workout, and literally just adding like this extra heavy band would make such a difference. Because I sometimes, in between my weighted exercises, I put this on and I do like squat pulses or lunge pulses, and literally it feels like I've got 20 kg on my back when I'm using this, because it does create that tension. And they're only £14 from Gracefit Band, and yeah, they're so useful. I absolutely love them. Like, I wouldn't do any exercises without them. The only time I ever do squats and things without a band is for stretches, and that's to get like really deep on the squat or really deep on the lunge. But yeah, I definitely recommend having one of these and sort of implementing it into your workout, because it will make a difference. The next thing is straps. My PT used to not recommend these like straight away because you want to build up that grip, but my grip is pretty good. I can lift up to maybe 65 without straps on, but I find that if I want to keep good form and I want to do like a solid amount of reps, so maybe like 10 rather than 6, then I need to have straps on, just because I prefer not to have that reset in the like middle. I'd prefer to not do 6 and then stop, have a little break, and then do the other 4. I prefer just to smash out the 10. So yeah, I have these straps which I got from Amazon. I don't know what the brand is. Like, the brand is Be Smart, but I don't know them as any kind of fancy brand. And these were £7, and they're really good. They've got the padding on the inside. As you can see, they're pretty like worn. They're kind of fraying at the end, but yeah, they're kind of pink camo, and yeah, I love them. They're very useful. I use them for deadlifts, so RDLs, sumos, and that's pretty much it. Some people use these straps for dumbbell workouts if they're doing maybe like single leg RDLs where you're using quite heavy weight. It just helps with your grip, but I've never used them for arms, but I'm going to take them tonight just in case I do go quite heavy on things. And then this I got recently. I've only used it once, which was yesterday, and that is my new belt, which I got from Amazon. So it's Mitra, I think it's the brand, and yeah, so far so good. It worked really well last night. It really helped with my form, like keeping my back and like my breathing, because it's so tight around your waist. I find that when you're sort of feeling weaker and your back wants to jerk outwards and like sort of hunch over, you just can't. Like, you hit the bell and it's not completely stopping you, but it sort of sends a thought to your brain, and then you're like, oh no, right, form's coming out, like I'm hitting the belt. So then it kind of makes me sort out my form a bit, and I also find it helps with the breathing in terms of like your stomach has something to push against, so you can really breathe out when you're coming up, and then yeah, when you breathe out at the top, sorry, but it means you've got something to sort of like breathe against, so it creates kind of a bit of pressure, but I like the feeling that it gives, and I found that I could actually lift more, and yeah, like my back doesn't ache or anything today, which is nice, because I did not mess it up, but I felt it a little bit when I did RDLs the other week, and that was because I lifted quite heavy and probably pushed myself a bit too far and didn't have a belt. So my posture was going a bit because I was tired. Whereas this kind of means that I can do the first couple of sets, like first 2 sets without a belt, fine. And then I put it on halfway through when I was getting a bit tired, because then it keeps my form. So I don't necessarily use it the whole workout, but I find it's useful. And that was £25. So you can get ones that are really, really cheap, but I didn't want one that was going to break, so I got this one. But yes, those are some staple items that I have for my gym workout, and also a barbell pad. I'll insert a photo because it's in my car, but barbell pad for hip thrust is a must, and you need a good one because it does hurt the hip bones. If you are of a leaner physique, which I am, then I can kind of feel my hip bones, sort of if you push down on your hips. So it means that if you were to have a bar across there, you're going to feel it as soon as you lift that, especially when you're lifting so heavy. I find that I could easily not use one if I'm doing like 40, which I haven't done in a while. But yeah, I find that you definitely need a barbell pad for when you're lifting heavy, because I even sometimes have to use a barbell pad and a mat folded in half, because even the barbell pad sometimes isn't enough when you're lifting a lot. Depends how tired you are. But yes, so that's kind of everything in a nutshell, in a very long-winded explanation. But yeah, I hope you found this useful. I actually quite like talking about it, so if you want to hear anything else about my gym and all the sort of workouts I do and things like that, then let me know. But yeah, I don't think I mentioned some of my staple workout ideas. I think I've talked about like my PBs and stuff for them, so you might have got the gist. But just quickly, some of the things I do for arms is bent over row, shoulder press, incline press, dumbbell flies, lateral pull down, which is this one where you've got the bar on the machine. What other things? I do some cable work. I get most of my stuff from Pinterest, if I'm honest, because they have loads of like bis and tris workouts and shoulders and stuff. And then for legs, it's just squats, deadlifts, sumos, hip thrusts are like my component items. And then there's incline leg press, leg curl, leg extension, seated abductions, Bulgarian split squats. I really like tricep dips for arms because you can put a plate on your legs. But yeah, that's kind of like the staple items that I use in my workouts. I will insert like some of the things that I do, like my list of workout, and then you can pause it and have a look. But yeah, I'll insert what I do tonight as well, because I'm doing bis and tris. But yes, so that's kind of my workout and like my protein and everything. I hope you found it useful. But yeah, if you have any further questions, or you want me to do like a Q&A in terms of gym and my workout routine, then just let me know any questions that you have, and I will either answer them in the comments or make a video. So yeah, I'm off to the gym now because it's 7 p.m. and I'm all ready. I'm in my Tala gear and I've got my Gymshark leggings on, and this is my Tala top. So yeah, I'm off to the gym and I will see you some other time.